Ladies and gentlemen, I think in the last video I forgot to say something, but scholars, we are in the counselor's office. Before we jump into it, we have to rant. I'm still battling against Samsung. For some odd reason, now I have to message the delivery crew or the pickup crew to set up a time for them to pick up the monitor, in which they'll give me a slip, which then I'll send. I have to take a picture and send it to the people, to Samsung. And then which I guess I'll have to wait for them to check out the monitor and then get my refund, which will go to my Samsung account, where then I can buy a new monitor. It is crazy that Samsung goes around this route. Like, I will get messages. I've been getting messages for the past month about, we've booked your service and stuff like that. And sometimes you look at the messages, they like do typos. It almost feels like it's a scam if I didn't get the support contact from Samsung themselves. And I continue to call anytime I get a message. I'm like, yo, this is sus. And I tell them, like, oh, we can look it up. Yeah, this is actually a thing. I'm like, it is so weird that Samsung is such a name brand, but everything they do feels sus as hell. I've never felt more uncomfortable working with a company because everything about it seems so unprofessional. We're going to send you a text message, and then you have to send us all this information 5 freaking times, and then we're going to send another. I've gotten so many different messages from Samsung or someone from Samsung. I swear, it makes me feel like I'm having a social life on my phone. Anyways, talking about social life, we're talking about the Rat King himself. We're talking about Marathon. I've just gotten dipping my toes. Like, I watched one clip, just some feedback, some throwback knowledge. I've never watched Asmongold, or at least I didn't. Just like several months ago or whatever, how long it was. I watched like a clip and I said, it was about, I think it was like Destiny or some game. It was some game. And I was like, I don't know who this is. And people were like, you know who he is, bro. You know who he is. Like, no, I don't. And so I watched the video for the first time, and I was like, okay, he's popular on Twitch. Again, that's probably why I never had heard of him, but I know he's pretty popular. I subscribe to his channel, and he does like a lot of political stuff, and I'm not much of a political Andy. That's not my jam. I'm here for the games. He does some games, but sometimes it's just like, I don't care about the games that he talks about, but he's talking about Marathon. So I'm dipping my toes. I have no idea how it's being received. It is like 40 something minutes long, which is a normal video for me. But we're going to click on it. We're going to see how it is. If I have to skip some bits just to get through it, because I'm going to have my own thoughts on it. Yeah, this is going to be very interesting. So we're going to jump in. Isn't it ironic that the first ad that pops up on a Marathon video is Fortnite, which is a free-to-play game that is actually successful?
This is the reveal. This is the big reveal. Big game.
Bungie's new game is a mess.
One of the biggest games.
Yeah, let me just say, Asmongold, Bungie's new game is a mess. That's not a good title. Is he just going to watch the 8-minute video and react to it?
Bias, Bungie fan. Played a lot of Halo back in the day.
Okay. Is he just going to keep talking about... I want him to talk about the gameplay, so...
Is that on the moon?
Oh my god. Okay, so he does watch the whole thing. I'm skipping this. Oh, wait, hold on. What was this?
We play as the newly produced bots. The woman interview robot does it to check if the bot is stable. Yeah, maybe. I mean, I'm not really sure. But yeah, I think that there's definitely a lot of like... I mean, overall, like, after watching this trailer, would I be encouraged?
So this wasn't a trailer. This was a cinematic. That's why if you look at the views, people overall like the cinematic, They just don't like the game. And I feel like Marathon probably would have been a cool little weird sci-fi show, but I don't think as a video game, it meshes well with people.
Courage to buy this game? The answer, if you want me to be honest, is yes. Yes, I think that this is good enough that I would probably buy the game based off of this.
Oh.
Now, and also, like, I have pretty low standards for games, and I'd pretty much try it out, see what it's like. That's kind of the mindset that I usually have.
Okay.
Try it out, see what it's like, and if it sucks, I stop playing it. But I think that for people that have, like, a lot less free time than I do, and maybe even also disposable income, because it'll cost money. The game will cost money, I think it's $40 or something like that.
And I think that's a big, big point that people like to gloss over. It's going to cost money. And so people are going to be less likely to invest in this game, a new title from a company that has had some, let's just say, unsavory reputation recently. They're going to be very cautious in spending their money on this.
Then I think that they're going to exercise more discretion than I will. It's artsy, though. Well, like, the thing is that it's artsy, but it's artsy in a way that I think is indulgent, and it's not exciting. Like, again, if you compare this, I think it's a great way to look at this is to compare it, is like this trailer here, right?
Okay.
I feel like this, like these two have like very much the same energy.
I'm going to say very clearly, I'm not a Death Stranding fan, so I absolutely agree with them. Both of these art styles are really freaking weird. I agree.
And maybe I'm crazy, but like I think so.
Attack on Titan.
And you can see, like, with a character like this, for example, there's something about this that's like more compelling and interesting.
It is. I'll give you that.
In terms of the design. And I'm not talking about like the graphics quality, but like it's just more compelling and interesting. A lot of the character design, actually, this is a good way for me to put it. Some of the character design in this game, it reminds me a lot of when you first get Photoshop and you apply every single like filter to text to make it look as cool as possible.
Yeah.
But then you realize it's like hard to read and see what's going on with it. Does that make sense?
That's actually, unironically, I understand exactly what he said, because when I first made the channel, I experimented with a bunch of different artwork, and sometimes simplicity is the best way, because sometimes even my thumbnails get there's so much going on that you're like, what are you looking at? Sometimes simplicity is key.
Like, you guys did this whenever you were kids, right? Yeah. It's over design. That's their goal. Well, if that's their goal, they succeeded. And so, anyway,
not in a good way.
That's basically it. Let's go ahead and take a look at the gameplay.
This is what I'm here for. It's the gameplay. What? Where'd that come from? I thought that was his video. I'm like, huh? I have no idea what I clicked, by the way. Okay. By the way, I don't, from my knowledge, like the knowledge that I have of Asmongold, he's not an extraction shooter guy. He's a WoW, which is, if you've played WoW, which I haven't, well, that's not true. I tried for like, I spawned into the world. I tried killing a wolf and I died. And then I stopped playing. That was like way back in high school. Like, I got the OG starter kit. I think it had a disc, if I remember correctly. And I downloaded it, and I literally, the starting area in like the wood area or whatever, my friend tried to get me to play, and I died to a wolf. And I was like, no, I'm good. Now, granted, I also didn't like Diablo, but I got into Diablo 3, Reaper of Souls, and that's when I actually started playing Diablo. Anyways, he doesn't come, like, I don't think he is an extraction shooter, so it's going to be interesting to see his take as a non-extraction Andy.
Marathon is a team-based extraction shooter set around the mysterious and cutthroat world of Tau Ceti 4. You are a runner, a cybernetic mercenary who's given up their human form for a biosynthetic shell with unique abilities and stats, capable of both tactical and fast-paced combat. Here you'll fight in a crew of up to 3 players across a variety of zones and points of interest.
I've watched this trailer like 10 times already.
Players, countless security forces, and otherworldly threats.
Let's see. Trailer costs more than producing the game. Damn! Concord 2. Looks like a cartoon. Not enough big, handsome men. Gay chat. Okay.
This is okay.
Is this Roblox? Yeah, that's exactly what I'm saying. Is this Roblox? Just play Fortnite. Why does it need to exist?
The remains of a lost colony for glory and fortune.
Timu Apex. Okay, now I've heard it all.
The environments of Tau Ceti 4 are filled with weapons, materials, and equipment you can...
And I've checked to see how like big he is. He gets like 30, 40K people. So the fact that he was streaming this and this many people do not like this, like 40K, like to give you any like inkling, 40K on his stream is more than what's playing Destiny on like PC, and probably there were probably a little bit more on actual like console, but not much. So the fact that his channel alone gets more people than what's playing Destiny, and this many people do not like it, says everything about people who don't play extraction shooters. Because none of these people, like very few of these people probably, wait, King Crimson. It's like Cyberpunk. Wait, I think we have a King Crimson in our chat, like our channel. Maybe, well, it has a bunch of numbers. Maybe I'm just thinking it. King Crimson, if you exist out there, let me know.
Scavenge throughout
It's the
the
same
map.
as any of these games.
Before deploying, you'll strategically build your loadout and select a runner to ensure you're equipped for the run ahead. Your objective is
So your runner, so this is also class-based, by the way. So like the characters are like, it's like, I don't know like how much of a class-based it is, but yeah, it's Apex. Yeah, I think it's seemingly kind of like Apex.
Yeah.
Get in.
It's like
Yeah.
it's like Apex / hero shooter. Yeah, it's more like Apex than like Marvel Rivals or like Overwatch, but it essentially is hero shooter light.
As you can and make it out alive. Die, and all your gear will be up for grabs. Survive, and your loot can be taken into future runs as you grow in power and fill your vault. Death is inevitable, but it's never the end. Think quickly on your feet and outplay your opponents, and in your next run, you and your teammates will be the ones coming out on top. And even if
I like how this
gameplay
gameplay is not even realistic.
Factions can sponsor you with a fresh loadout, so you can get right back into the fight.
That's cool. I like that.
Bungie
It depends
brings
on how
its
often it happens.
best-in-class first-person multiplayer action to the forefront. Dynamic
I like how they nod. They say we're best in class. I like how they gave themselves that title. We're best in class gunplay. I don't know about that, Chief. If you were if it was best in class, then people will be playing Destiny PvP more.
and tactile gunplay, runners with unique playstyles, and customizable builds create highly dynamic and strategic team fights.
Like, who gave that title to Bungie? Best in class.
Rolling with powerful gear, you'll need to use your best judgment when you decide which fights to pick and how. Because no matter how geared you are,
Dude, it reminds me of the
players with
Halo
skill
pistol
and strategy
or
will
Needler.
always have the edge. Marathon is designed to be played in crews with contextual pings, shared objectives, and down but not
And that's going
out
to kill a lot of
to
people's
streamline
enjoyment of the game,
friends.
having to play in a
I'm
crew.
not sure if making people play in a group is a good thing.
There you go.
Is not the end.
Like,
And
and
if you
here's the thing, like, people will play in a crew like Tarkov, but I think forcing, like, making the whole thing catered to, okay, we're expecting threes all the time. that's how it's supposed to be played, versus Tarkov, where you can play 3s, you can play 5s, 2s, you can go solo. We're just making the game to just for the specific amount of people versus how many is in a group.
The last one standing, you can overcome the odds to revive your teammates and get out with your hard-earned loot. And if you believe your skills alone are enough to conquer any challenge, we give you the freedom to opt out of crew fill to take all the glory for yourself.
Yeah, the same as Dark and Darker.
No two runs in Marathon ever play out the same. With dynamic events, variable weather, and unpredictable players, you'll have to adapt on the fly if you want to survive. Each run has a time limit, and anything can happen while you're chasing your...
I like how every time I see the guy with invisibility comes out and just knifes and one-shots someone, I don't know in what world that's okay. Where a guy's invisible, runs up and knifes you, and you're like, okay, that was a great fight.
Objective.
I think invisibility is so stupid for this game.
Or increase your faction reputation.
Why?
Slip into the shadows as Void and ghost past your enemies.
That just seems
Search
really
them out for
stupid.
Rare materials and profit opportunities without being discovered.
Destiny PvP looks better than this. I'd rather play Tarkov, to be honest.
Want to push enemy teams and steal them?
F invisibility. Someone even said it in their chat. Where is it at? Right. Oh, there it is.
Want to push enemy
F invisibility. Yep. It's caused DMZ with Apex look. Yep.
teams and steal their loot? Bring in Glitch with agility implants and your strongest weapon.
Roblox shoddy.
Rival crews. Running support for your friends. Grab extra equipment.
Hey! I just saw someone say it's Warframe but cheaper. Don't diss Warframe like that.
Charges and a specialized backpack.
It's Lego.
The lifeline they need.
Hey! Expect delays. Not on my
Taxis
video,
was for-
god dang it.
You're always free to experiment with team compositions, and the only limit to how you want to play your runner is your
Hero
loot and
shooter?
imagination.
John.
Lifeline from
Endgame
Apex.
challenges, ranked play,
Hate Invisibles.
discovering secrets, seasonal
Slow
storytelling,
packs.
community events, and more all await you in Season 1, where you and your friends will start to unravel the
Seasons,
mysteries
people.
of Tau Ceti 4. Remember, you're only ever one run away from your next big score.
Yeah, I'm sure that's great.
All right, we got one more. Let's take a look at it. All right, this is a gameplay reveal. Let's watch this one.
I'm interested to see
This
what
one
he
got
says.
Really bad ratings.
Oh my
here we
god.
go.
Yeah. So this is the official. He watched this the day it came out. We watched the Angry Joe version, and it is up to 20K likes and like 16, 17K dislikes. It is massive, the difference.
A lot of people probably don't know that. It was a real long time ago.
I mean, yeah, it's
It was
Marathon.
before they made Halo.
Oh, he dead. Every time I see this, I'm disappointed that it looks like Fortnite.
The end of all things.
Destiny 3, 90s before Microsoft brought the rights. Why did they use this IP for an extraction shooter? This could have been a great campaign. I don't know.
But the dream is not over.
Macathon.
My dream. Yours.
Watch games. Oh, I was reading that, you asshole.
This is, I like that. That's cool.
Apex is so much better. And animation is the trailer. Where's Timefall? Cyberpunk 1997. Holy crap. Holy lag, Batman. I'm just reading his chat, and they're just all over the place.
That was cool,
Roblox
too.
versus Lego Wars. FPS. Apex and
I think what
Roblox.
really matters the most, and this is
I
what,
like that I'm not the only one that's saying that this looks like Roblox and Apex Legends. That is the most when multiple people come to that conclusion, where there is smoke, there's a fire. Roblox got an upgrade.
I'll just let it finish. Gotcha, bitch. So, thoughts on the game, opinions, etc. What do I think? I'm gonna just play while I talk about it. Actually, you know what? I think it was there was a video of like Shroud talking about it. I'll listen to what he says too, because he's like, you know, the guy, right?
I think I've seen this clip.
Like the epitome of what happens every single time. You come in, whether you're a AAA dev or an indie or whatever, you try to come into an extraction game and you try to make it and you try to remove the friction. There's a lot of friction.
He's going to say that the friction is what makes the game interesting.
It is.
In a game like Tarkov. There's a lot of like
and by removing it, it's going to be an empty experience, I bet.
That might not want you to open up the game ever.
Yeah.
Hundreds of bullet types.
Mm-hmm.
Different bullet types, different guns, different attachments. Then that changes the gun and the guns themselves. You have armor types. Now they have armor plus the type of plates that you put on it. You got helmet types. You've got what kind of headsets do you have, because some headsets are good, some are bad. You have to figure out which ones those. There's so much going on. The little things that add interest and complexity that keeps you wanting to come back and play. And a lot of people are like, well, should I learn to play Tarkov before Marathon comes out? People are like, no, you have to spend hundreds of hours to learn how to play. And that's a good thing. I think if it takes hundreds of hours and you want to invest into a game like an extraction shooter, that is great. If you want a Fortnite Battle Royale experience or Apex Legends, just play that. Don't waste your money on something that is not worth it.
Thousands of individual items, quests that don't tell you at all where to go.
No, it's part of the fun factor.
I mean, the weapon attachment system is like, what am I doing? Right? So much friction. There's so much friction to play Tarkov. Most people don't even open that game. But that friction is what makes the game so popular to its core audience. So it's weird.
Path of Exile has the same situation.
Come in.
I've never played Path of Exile. I have no idea.
Or a AAA dev, whatever. And you want to remove the friction? Great. You remove the friction, the game is smooth, the game's easy to play.
Yep.
Anyone could just click play and just be right in it. But they only play for a couple weeks or a month. And then they're like, well, there's nothing.
If you make a casual game, you're going to get a casual audience. The game is going to do bad. You play a game where there's a lot in time to invest, like take Marvel Rivals. It's free. And it's pretty easy to pick up, but at the same time, there's so many different characters. There's complexity working as a team, and you learn how to play each character and how to synergize, how to strategies for each map. You remove some of that complexity, it's no longer fun. And I think Marvel Rivals is easy enough to get into that it works. But extraction shooters are a very specific niche, and they're a niche for a reason. Not because it's hard to get people into it, because we have a bunch of other extraction shooters that are easier than Tarkov and easier to get into. It's because, in general, people don't like losing their shit.
Nothing left to learn. Well, yeah, that's because you just removed all the friction. All the friction's gone. All the tooltips. Like, for example, a perfect example is this, yeah? On this screen, you see
the value of everything
and its value.
Yeah.
You don't learn the value as a player. You instantly are told what it's worth.
What should I care about? What should I care about?
He's right about this. Is that's like a vector of difficulty that the player then achieves that's taken away from them when there are values assigned. He's right.
I don't know if I've said it before, but can we just like if you were to remove and put this out there somewhere, does this look like a AAA game to you? Because it looks like the whole UI and everything looks like it was made by an indie developer. It looks like it would be something I would find in Roblox. And yes, Roblox has like Halo and Call of Duty, and this is what it would look like.
Is a developer coming in and saying, we're going to remove the friction and remove the complications of like the complexity of like seeing an item and being like, what is this? We're just going to tell you what it is. It's worth $1,000. That's it.
Yeah.
Yep.
Great if you're playing the game for the first time. Bad if you're playing the game for
50th time.
the 1,000th time.
Yeah.
Because what makes extraction shooters good and interesting
They're
is
dynamic.
giving that player the knowledge, the tools to like learn the game themselves, figure out what a pack of cigarettes is for. And I know it's really stupid, and nobody thinks like that. Most people.
No, the most patrician game developers understand and respect this. That's why you look at like the way that Miyazaki designs games like Elden Ring, and the way that Classic WoW was designed.
I don't know anything about Classic. Wow. I think he did what he did.
And there's like an element of good friction and bad friction. And one of the best examples of what do you call it? The best examples of like this being bad is like retail WoW, especially during like the Legion BFA era, where developers knew that friction was needed in order to create a good experience, but they couldn't intuit what that friction was and why it was valuable.
I have no idea what he's talking about. Someone in the comments can explain to me. I don't know. WoW well is goated.
Bad friction equals world quests. Now, what makes extraction shooters fun is absolutely murking fools and the stress of getting out with your loot.
That is true.
Yeah, but there's like different like game knowledge, player knowledge, and everything. And this is something that's like, this might sound weird, but bear with me for a minute. Making knowledge more of a component of the game makes it easier for hardcore players to maintain relevancy without having to have like Twitch reactions and keep up with the skill cap of the game. Because like a good player can still outmaneuver a better player if they have high game knowledge.
Yep. But if everyone is on the same footing, someone who has better gear is always going to have an advantage no matter what.
Are like, just tell me what the pack of cigarettes are for, man. Mm-hmm. But what's fun about extraction shooters is when they don't tell you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's
think
part of the
also,
challenge.
Like, making everything kind of a mystery that's discovered is very important. And I kind of completely agree with Shroud here. And I think that in general, the gameplay for this seems okay, right? I mean, like...
it looks unfinished.
I think that really... what's going to define this game as being good or not isn't anything that we can really see and observe right now in the trailers. I think that like you're really going to have to play this game and see how the different missions are, because
I think, and we already have, like, he doesn't realize that we have gameplay footage. We have seen all these different creators who've played the game, and they've showcased what the challenges are. It's like kill 5 dudes or go kill some aliens. Like, we've seen some of them. We haven't seen all of it, to be fair. But so far, it just seems meh.
It's a big problem that a lot of like BRs and games have is that after you do a few runs, it feels like every single run is the same. And like the game that really does the best job at fighting against this is Fortnite. Fortnite does an incredible job at always reinventing itself.
It does.
And
it's
creating
fantastic.
new metas and new ways of playing the game.
And it's also free.
And I think that if you compare that with other games, like, for example, Warzone or even PUBG to a lesser extent, the meta for the game is pretty much discovered, and the way of playing optimally is pretty much discovered quickly, and then it's kind of over. And I think that's really what the problem is. Watch the cinematic. Oh, I already saw the cinematic, exactly. And Fortnite removed friction in BRs. Well, Fortnite removed certain types of friction in BRs, but it added other friction.
It adds
So,
some
like,
challenge.
It removed the friction of finding weapon attachments, but it added the friction of building. So, like, there was like no net change. And if anything, Fortnite has more friction because of the different, like, difficulties, right? But I think that really a game like PUBG, the reason why PUBG was really popular too, is because you could be kind of mediocre at the game, but you could still come out ahead if you knew what you were doing. And I think
fair.
that's really the difference that a lot of these games don't really have now, is that they don't have ways. A lot of these games kind of get caught by like sweat entropy, where you have people that start playing the game really seriously. And because they're playing it so seriously, they completely dominate lobbies. And
I think that's exactly what happened like with Apex Legends. Like, it feels like if you're lucky, you'll get some noobs, but most of the time I played Apex Legends, it felt like it was just the sweatiest lobbies. And I'm like, I'm just a little Timmy trying to learn to play, but it feels like I'm at a curve. I'm getting my butt kicked.
And when they're dominating these lobbies, average players can't come into the game and succeed or do anything. And so that's really, I think, where the big problems are, is that, like, you need to have games that find ways to overcome that skill entropy. And I don't think that skill-based matchmaking is the solution.
Oh,
to
hell
that.
no.
I think it's one tool that you can use. But the problem still remains, is that when somebody gets outplayed on, like, such a massive
Skill-based matchmaking doesn't just belong in extraction shooters. That removes the whole point of it.
level, especially whenever there's like different like levels of complexity like Fortnite, people like that get discouraged and they lose interest. And so I think really we're going to have to play this game and see kind of like what the use case for the game actually is, rather than just kind of writing it off, because I feel like Dark and Darker is a really great example of this, is that I don't know if I ever told people this, I know it's Tips did, is that we actually declined Dark and Darker for the OTK Games Expo, the first one that we did, because we thought the game was garbage. And there are a lot of games that look like garbage, but they're actually really fun to play. And there's also the opposite of games that look amazing, but they play like garbage. For real, yeah, big mistake there, right? But my point is that it happens.
I think he's correct. I mean, we have gameplay, and I think for most cases, you're missing about 20% from gameplay versus actually playing it. The 20% being the actual like adrenaline, the under pressure, how it interacts with you as the player versus watching someone like Dr. Lupo, who's more of an extraction pro, who's out there just crushing it, and you're like, well, that looks really easy and boring. So there's definitely like, we're gonna have to play this, but at the same time, you can watch a game and you can get about at least 80% of what it's gonna be about by watching the gameplay, unless it's some kind of cinematic gameplay. But we've seen actual alpha or pre-alpha, whatever, gameplay. It is very noticeable that we're not going to get a massive overhaul in 6 months, which is what they have left to do. It's not going to massively change. It's just not.
It's very often. And I'm very, very concerned about this. I am like worried that, you know, they're not really going to understand what makes this genre interesting.
I don't think so either.
Again, like, I'm speaking kind of as an outsider for this, because like I'm not like a really big
I'm stopping him. They hired a Valorant, you know, one of the big Valorant dudes. Valorant is not the same as an extraction shooter. And apparently people were saying they also hired people from Concord, which I'm like, I don't know about that. I don't know about that. I didn't realize that was a thing. I literally released a couple of videos and people are like, they hired Concord devs. And I've been sitting there trying to defend, say, hey, it's not Concord 2.0. People are crazy. And apparently there are some actual Concord devs in with Marathon. I'm like, okay, that's not helping them.
like extraction shooter guy. I generally don't like games where you can make negative progress. It's just demotivating for me, just personally. But in a general sense, this is the way that I feel about it. You missed a gameplay video, watch the raw footage. Oh yeah, well anyway, I can look at least a little bit of the raw footage. Like I don't want to go through like everything, but
okay, just a quick tip. You can't see it, but his bar is full of stuff, and I thought mine was bad.
we can go ahead and at least look at some of it, right?
What am I looking at?
And so, yeah, this is just some of the gameplay.
By the way,
right?
I'm pretty sure I've seen Roblox with this kind of sniper rifle. Just a boxy sniper.
And so,
it's like, what is this? I think this
subjects
is...
to alpha states and change. Yeah, not really a big surprise. These are the different characters that you're playing, right?
Hold on.
Anyway,
Hold on.
alpha states and change. Yeah, not the raw footage through like every.
I just wanted to make a point. Here, right here. Let's stop to look at this while we're chatting. When you think of Halo, you think of the sniper rifle. It is pretty iconic. It's very noticeable. Like, you're like, yeah, that's the Halo sniper rifle. In Destiny, we have a couple of snipers, right, that stand out. Whisper of the Worm. That's pretty noticeable. For some really OGs, we've got Praetifs, you know, from Vault Glass. But I would say it's pretty safe to say Whisper of the Worm. You know, that has been carried over from Destiny 1. It's been gone through multiple different names, but it's an iconic sniper rifle, iconic weapons, Galahorn. There's a rocket launcher. And when I look at this from Bungie, who's known for making iconic weapons, outside of the shotgun, which a lot of people keep referencing, and I don't see it because I literally saw gameplay of the OG Marathon, and the shotguns look like the shotgun that we have in Destiny, which is a literally sawed-off shotgun. But all of this doesn't look iconic. Nothing about this is going to be like, I'm going to stop playing like, man, that is an iconic weapon that people are going to want to 3D print and sell. And this weapon. Whereas everyone knows about Galahorn for the most part in the Destiny community, and maybe outside of it. Like they even make reference to it in other media. It's because it's that iconic. Whereas none of these weapons, none of them, not a single one has looked iconic. They look like the most generic Roblox looking weapon. I'm like, that's part of the problem. That is part of the reason why people are so detached from the artwork, detached from this gameplay. It's because nothing about it screams iconic. Nothing's like, man, Halo, you had the assault rifle. It's pretty iconic. You had the energy sword. You had the battle rifle. Halo has some iconic weapons that people like, I know that. But you pull this out, no one knows where this came from. It's so generic and so bad.
So, yeah, this is just some of the gameplay here, right? And so, game subjects, alpha states, and change. Yeah, not really a big surprise. These are the different characters that you're playing, right?
Void, Amplify, Disrupt, Power Slide.
So let's break it.
Yeah, I mean, it is Apex / as close as a hero shooter we're gonna get.
Yeah, it does feel like they basically turned, like they've made it very much into Void looks badass. I don't think that any of the characters are really that interesting.
They're not.
Cool. Like, honestly, if I look at this,
The UI looks so bad.
Oh, it doesn't work with this. If I look at this right here,
Ew.
what game do you think this reminds me of?
He's gonna say Concord, isn't he? He's gonna say Concord.
We all know. It's Concord, right?
I knew it.
This is some Concord level design. It is.
It's pretty bad. I still don't know if I agree if it being Concord 2.0, but I would agree. See, here's the thing. I would agree if the argument is it looks unappealing to the eye, and I think for most people that is true. It is in that regard same as Concord, but I think Concord was unappealing because it was made based. We can be honest. It was definitely, you know, less catered toward the majority of the audience that wanted that game. listen, I'm not gonna say it because I hate the everything's woke. I hate it. I hate the conversation. But let's be honest, most people didn't like it because they thought it was woke. I don't think this is like this is. I see cyberpunk, but this right here looks fucking disgusting. Cyberpunk looks amazing, and it's got the whole like chipset, everything. It looks badass, but this just looks like shit. This looks like some garbage ass rope. Like, I feel like I'm looking at Roblox, and people who are like, you don't know what you're talking about, they've never played Roblox. Anyone who's actually played Roblox, like playing Halo or Call of Duty and Roblox, and yes, there was a big drought a couple years ago, and I experimented and played with different Roblox games, and there's some crazy shit. Like, there was SCP, like actual SCP containment, like some pasta stories. I forgot what they're called. Scary pasta stuff. Slender Man. Like, there's all kinds of crazy stuff on Roblox. It is insane, the value proposition that you get from a little kid's, like, what you think is a little kid's game. And this is a AAA title, and as someone who's played Roblox, this looks, if not the same or less quality of actual Roblox.
We all know it's Concord, right? This is some Concord level design. It is. Sorry, but that's the truth. Is this game gonna be the next really big game?
I don't think so.
I think if it's designed in like a really good way, it could be really popular. But
I don't see
not
this
like crazy amazing. It just seems like kind of okay, right?
The way I say it, with the gunplay, it looks good, but not great. That was one of the quotes that was made whenever layoffs came out and leaks came out about Marathon, that they had to scrap and reset the whole game because at first it was bad, and then they made changes and it was good, but not great. And I think that perfectly it encompasses Marathon. It's good, but not great. Do I think this is going to be is this going to be something that's going to catch major attention? Like, even like is it going to get Call of Duty levels success? No. And even Call of Duty has been waning on people, but this will absolutely not get the same reception as like Call of Duty. I mean, again, you're going after a niche environment and you're trying to capitalize on that, and it's 4 years too late. But even if it was on time, you're still capitalizing on a very small niche environment. It just doesn't make sense to me.
The game isn't free to play, it's doomed. Yeah, and this is another component to it.
It's not free to play.
If I look up Marathon, here we go. Marathon is Alpha's application, completely unnecessary gender identity question. It doesn't matter, male or female. So we'll look at some of the people and like what people have been talking about with the game.
I've heard a lot of negative things about Grums. I'm gonna have to keep note because I'm trying to keep track of like. I'm making a video about Marathon, so I'm just keeping track of all of the like feedback, the negative, the positive, everything.
Because obviously that matters a lot too. And so anyway, you've had a lot of people that have been pretty negative about it, right? This is beautiful, this is not. I mean, again, making characters that look really weird like this, I do think it's over-designed in a way that doesn't really appeal to anyone.
Yeah.
I do, right? It's kind of hot. Yeah, I don't know about that. Really kind of depends. But like in a general sense, I think that Western game developers, and this is just like a huge problem, Western game developers are like almost afraid to make conventionally attractive female characters. And so they make these characters that...
Granted, she's supposed to be a robot, but Bungie's literally made robots... like humans fall in love with robots and make out, all that stuff. So it's like, they obviously don't care. So like, even if it's a robot, they could still have a sexy robot. I don't play extraction shooters to look at tatas. But I don't want to look at an abomination that hurts my eyes.
Kind of like a very, like, this is like a rave girl personality or some other variation of that. And they're not just using a traditional... you know, you take a hot girl with decent proportions with a pretty face and just go with that, right? And so, right, it's very androgynous. Yeah, and I feel like a lot of the female characters that are made in like Western development studios do have like an androgynous vibe to it, and I find it to be kind of off-putting. And I think it's really a big shock when you see it compared to like something like Marvel Rivals.
Marathon is just Concord 2. Premium title, battle pass, ugly designs, shit gameplay. I don't know, man. I don't think the gameplay's bad. I think it's it's essentially Destiny gameplay. If you look at the guns, the animation, it's all Destiny. They literally copied, pasted a lot of things from Destiny, which is not necessarily a good thing, especially when you have the Warlock animation with the hands and you have the Titan punch, and you're like, what was the 4 years used for? Just pulling from Destiny? I mean, it is on the Tiger engine, which is a massive problem on its own that no one recognizes, that Destiny struggles on the Tiger engine, and we're still running on the Tiger engine.
Because I think Marvel Rivals, the style quality and everything is just a lot better. Like, this is okay.
That's fine.
I just
That's
don't
weird.
really see this being... I don't see this being appealing. Right? Like, I mean, it just isn't like... I don't see people wanting to cosplay these characters. I don't see people, like, really being that interested in them at all. They don't have, like, a... they're not compelling in a way. So, yeah, I mean, I think that's, like, that's the main thing that
they're
I
too
usually
generic.
go by, is, like, are the people... Like, will people cosplay these characters? Maybe this one. Maybe
I think she'll get cosplay.
Bit, but probably not even that. And so some of the other armored characters are pretty decent, and you see like a lot of comparisons of this as well. But yeah, just I just
listen, guys. Not everything has to have tits.
Girl, just make one. Yeah, it's just not. It's a little bit weird, right?
Not everything needs tits.
And people will cosplay Concord characters as a joke. She looks like Yolande Visor. The one in Die Antwoord, I think.
I just find her teeth being different colored is weird.
If I'm thinking of the person you're thinking of. But yeah, that's... I mean, I can see why you say that for sure. But... And John Concord, yeah, exactly, right? But... just, okay.
I knew Marathon was cooked the moment they tried to explain the revolutionary new heat mechanic. You run very fast, but the trade-off is that you overheat, so you can't do it very long. See, trade-off, guys, like the Halo franchise. You mean a stamina bar? That is kind of funny.
Okay. Anyway, so...
Stamina bar, guys! We're really reinventing the game!
The character design is... Again, I can definitely see why people are comparing it to Concord. It's very, it's like, it's weird in a way.
And I think a lot of people are going to be detached. They're going to feel it's too weird. It's not appealing to the eye. And the majority of the gamer environment is not accepting of it. And here's a good example. People love Call of Duty, but even Activision failed with Modern Warfare. Was it Modern Warfare Infinity? Where it was guns in space. And it was like, even after Advanced Warfare, people were just checked out. People did not like the advanced futuristic gunplay. They didn't like space fights. What they wanted was realism. They wanted boots on the ground. They wanted realism. And that's why you've not seen Call of Duty go back, even though there's a vocal minority that wants it. Majority of people do not like that. They don't like the futuristicism, because they'd rather just play Halo for that. They don't like it. And in this case, people don't like this art design. They don't like the weirdness of it. They want Tarkov. They want a military first-person shooter. That's what they want. And people don't want to admit it, but that's one of the reasons why this game, if it fails, it's because of that.
Yeah, it's terrible. Yeah, it's like, I don't know why, like, American game studios have such like, I think the reason why, and, like, maybe this is just, like, me, like, you know, every problem looks like a nail.
We are Maida. We are pregnant. Maida loves pregnant men. Yes.
But like, I think the reason why is because they don't want to push traditional beauty standards with games. And so they try to create these like weird androgynous characters that are still compelling. And I just think that doesn't land with a lot of people. It doesn't land with people. It doesn't resonate with anyone. And I think it's weird. There's no grit to it. Yeah, exactly. And it's like like in my opinion, like there are some exceptions, but I think that as a general rule, if you can't tell what gender a character is, you've made a mistake. You've made a mistake. It's nobody wants to see that. People are not interested in that.
I don't know if that's true. I mean, obviously, if it's a robot, no one cares. And from my interpretation, is these are just a bunch of like synthetic bodies that they exist. They don't look good, but I don't think we need everything to be big titty robots. I don't think we need sex or hotness, or I just don't want to look at something that looks like an abomination. If you want to have your dude run around like an arm, like looking like a knight or like a dragon or something, like sure, pop off, make it look like Fortnite, but like this is very unappealing to stare at.
Like, yeah, you should have some femboys and some femboys and tom girls. Like, yeah, for sure, a little bit. But in a general sense, it's just not something people are very interested in.
It's not.
They're bots. Well, I'm not really saying about the bots. Well, what about yourself? There are no gender. No, people identify and they're going like these characters are absolutely gendered characters.
In regard, they are, yeah.
Like if you, the fact that you think that there's even a discussion about that shows that there's a big problem. These are absolutely gendered characters, and everybody is going to play it with that mindset.
It's very obvious
like,
this is a female.
in the front of their mind. And so if you don't do that, yeah, 2B's an android, but people can tell what gender she is. Yeah, exactly, right? And so, again, I just think that if you make characters like this, they're going to be very unappealing, and people aren't going to really resonate with them at all, and it's off-putting. And I think that's another really big component to it that a lot of people might not understand, is that when somebody sees a character design that looks weird, like this, for example, I think this is like kind of fine, but like in general, if they see a character design that looks weird, they won't want to play the game. That's it. They're just not going to be interested in the game because it looks weird. And so, okay, screw it. Yeah, exactly. And again, like, I think that pretty much every single circumstance, it's always a bad idea to make characters that are not conventionally attractive. Because this is, again, this is a shooter game, and shooter games are going to be primarily played by men. So if you're playing, if you're making a shooter game...
I think it's fair. That is a fair assessment. Majority of the people are going to be men. If you make something that's ugly, and that's what I'm going back to. It's not even just because it's a robots. I think the look in general, most men prefer military look. Or if they're going to do futuristic, it's going to be like a badass Spartan, like Master Chief, or look like a character from Destiny. Most people don't. In fact, that's a big problem why people are really turned off on all the microtransactions going on in Destiny, like running around like a stormtrooper, is because it destroys the whole image of what they're wanting to experience. They don't want to experience this weirdness. They want to play, when they think extraction shooter, they're thinking of like Tarkov, Delta Force, this militarized first-person shooter. They're going in, running, gunning. They don't want to play Apex Legends.
That's primarily made for men, then you should make sure that all of the female characters in the game are fuckable.
I don't know about that.
This might sound crazy to say, but I'm just going to say it. That's what you should do.
I don't know if I agree with that. I mean, I do agree with him in the fact that sex sells, and he's absolutely correct. People will, if you have big titty girls, people will play. If the gameplay is good, I think I like First Descendant. Don't get me wrong, it had good gameplay. I enjoyed it, but overall, it had a lot of issues with everyone else. It brought in a niche population, and it's still very niche. But if you take like, for instance, Call of Duty, very popular. You can run around as Nicki Minaj with big titties, big dump truck, And people love that. And it sells. And into his regard, he's completely right. Do I want to have everyone with dump trucks and mountain boulder-sized breasts running around? No. But to some regard, making them fairly attractive or enjoyable to the eye, like not looking like they were just some random thing you made in MS Paint or Roblox. Yeah, I think we can meet in the middle.
That's what you should do, because that's what people want to do. That's what girls will cosplay. Girls don't want to cosplay ugly, weird-looking, androgynous, creepy characters. And all of that, like, think about how much advertising Marvel Rivals gets because of how many...
Okay, that's fair. If you see people, girls cosplaying, they're even the most boring-looking characters, they make look sexy as hell because they know what their audience.
Girls try to cosplay the characters. The girl character in the cinematic is fuckable, though. Yeah, but she could be more fuckable, and that she should have been. And I think that they really missed the opportunity to do that. And everybody thinks that, like, and I the reason why I say this is because, like, I'm already assumed to be the king of the incels, right?
Okay, I'm glad you're owning it.
I feel like I can say this and nobody's surprised. The fact is that I'm right. I'm right, even if you don't want me to be right, even if you think that I shouldn't be right, even if you think that this is the wrong way of looking at things, I can tell you time and time again, example and example again, every single time this turns out to be true.
He's right. I agree that it shouldn't be right. I also think it's stupid, but he's right. I mean, Emma Frost or whatever her name is, everyone was talking about her skin, like the test skin, and every freaking person was posting it on Twitter. Mama's home. Like, he's right. We don't want it to. You could say you don't want it to be right, but he's right.
And if you're making a game and you want it to sell, you need to follow these principles. And if you don't, you are setting yourself at a disadvantage. And if you want to set yourself at a disadvantage, that's your right to do that. But at the same time, you're setting yourself at a disadvantage. You're half right. Why would anyone want a fuckable character? I just want hot characters to look at and not one to simp after.
True.
I think that having a character that's fuckable is one way of saying it, but a better way of saying it is having a character that you feel is visually appealing and visually enticing. And so really the overlap there is almost a circle in terms of a Venn diagram, but the fundamental thing is the same. And so that's really about
Latina. Yeah, baby, you gotta get some Latinas up in here.
What it is. It's about being visually enticing or visually appealing.
Like, I don't know who that was, but that person knows what's up.
Like that weird guy with the guitar, he wasn't really fuckable in a way, but I guarantee you there are girls typing on Twitter, oh, I like him, like he's cool, right? Because, like, even characters that look weird have to have a certain type of positive visual appeal. And I think that that's what... No, I'm telling you, I guarantee you that people are saying that for sure. And so anyway,
okay.
Yeah. The fuck you on? I'm on reality. I'm on reality.
I get those kind of questions all the time. What are you talking about? What do you mean it looks like Roblox? Man, I love when I have more experience with a game, with more games than Destiny. It is crazy the amount of cope that Destiny community has for anything that is outside Destiny. You can tell immediately who's played games when you mention another game and they're like, what are you talking about? I love that I am not attached to just Destiny and I have experienced so many different flavors because it's given me a lot of different viewpoints. And when I'm talking about certain cases, I can pull from those games and be like, what about this game? This game. I knew immediately, like, several different games that Marathon looks like and just the gameplay it's trying to mimic. Like, immediately I knew it was Apex Legends because I played Apex Legends.
And I think there's a reason why so many people are responding this way.
They don't like it.
I am, and you can be mad. People over and over have gotten mad at me for saying stuff like this, but every single time I've been proven to be right. Every single time. But anyway, again, all of this will be secondary to the game being good.
There it is. There's the there's the warlock animation.
Right? Like if the game plays well, it will be able to overcome any visual problems or anything like that. So we'll have to wait and see. Any demos or anything like that for this game, I will absolutely play. So we'll just have to wait and see when it actually comes out, right?
All right.
It's really interesting.
So my thoughts is I think he's absolutely correct. I mean, almost 1 million views. Let's see what people are saying. Man, save money on games that have never been more easy in 2025. It looks weird, but weird can be good. Asmon, it's an extraction shooter, by the way. Well, never mind. Exactly, because if extraction shooters are very specific. I'm also very curious. Chrome. I just downloaded this so I could do this specifically. Let's see. YouTube. Let's see. YouTube. Let's look at Marathon. Let's just see how's it been received. The actual gameplay trailer. Holy crap. Oh, it's changed a little bit. I think it depends because I have two different trackers. This one is saying 20K. Either way, this is still not good. This is pretty bad. It's pretty bad. Let's see. PlayStation. How are we doing on PlayStation? Oh! We got Angry Joe. We already reviewed it. Marathon First Hands. How about IGN? How are we doing with IGN? Oh, not good. Not good. Ooh, ew, brother. Ooh. Xbox. How we doing on Xbox? Ooh, yeah. I mean, everywhere you look, my friends don't like Marathon. Oh, here it is. This is the one I keep looking at. Yeah, I mean, it's literally verbatim tied. It is bad. And when you've got this much disinterest in a game, it is, I'm sorry, it is almost dead on arrival. People are expecting it to be this bad. So I don't want to be the bearer of bad news, but I wouldn't get you. Ooh, Skeletor made a new video. Anyways, that's what we're going to do later. Let's be honest. I don't want it to fail because I treat it like Baldur's Gate. I don't care about Baldur's Gate, but I'm glad it was successful. I'm glad people were able to enjoy it and have fun with it. And I truly believe that is the route. Oh, wait, I've already watched that one. Okay, I thought it was a new one. Sorry, I've got a video coming up for you all. Skeletor. Anyways, it's late. I've been recording for like 3 hours. So hit the like button, comment down below. The link to the original video will be down below for your beautiful faces. It is funny. The makers of Halo, catfishing. The makers of Halo have not been in Bungie for many years. Only a couple of them that I know of have been around. Most of them are Concord, apparently, and different tag team like Valorant. Marathon doesn't make sense. Oh, that's the next video. I'm collecting all these videos like they're Infinity Stones. Until next time, don't forget to be the best version of yourself and game out. Huzzah.